Can you hear that thunder rolling over Soldier Field? It might just be the sound of a bruising back barreling through defensive fronts, and if recent chatter is to be believed, Chicago could be the next stop on his journey. Bears news fan. Report fam, strap in. If you're as fired up about adding game-breaking weapons to this roster as I am, hit that like button and subscribe right now, because what we're about to discuss could reshape our entire identity on offense. Picture this: our backfield. Long searching for a true bell cow, suddenly anchored by a dynamic 1,000-plus yard rusher who torched defenses at every level of college football before translating that dominance to the pros. Could a move like this flip our playbook from vanilla between-the-tackles slog to explosive, every-down threat? Is Ryan Poles ready to bet big on acquiring the kind of playmaker who makes opposing coordinators slide their safeties inside and phone in extra blitz packages? Let's set the stage. Over the last few seasons, the Bears have struggled to find consistency at running back, cycling through committee approaches and hoping for flashes from mid-round selections. The result? Opponents cheerfully stacked the box, dared our quarterback to beat them, and often did just that. Meanwhile, the window to mold a true franchise quarterback swings ever wider open, if we can just hand him a lead back who demands high-leverage respect. Now, imagine pairing our offense with a runner whose 2,691 scrimmage yards in college and $6 million cap hold make him a tantalizing, cost-controlled target. That's right. The proposal on the table, per a recent sporting news writer, is to swing a 2026 second-round pick and absorb that manageable cap hit to bring in the kind of back who averaged north of 5 yards per carry, hauled in passes out of the backfield like a jack-of-all-trades, and turned broken plays into highlight reel runs. Some say it's too steep a price, but consider the upside. In Jacksonville, this very same back demonstrated an uncanny ability to read running lanes, break tackles in the open field, and serve as a matchup nightmare on third down. He's the type of bruiser with home run speed, one who can chop off 10, 15, even 20 yards in a single burst, forcing the defense to respect every snap. Could this prospect bring the kind of downhill identity we've yearned for since the days of Peyton and Fort? What if his arrival instantly revitalizes our offensive line, turning them into a unit that opponents must game plan around instead of dismiss? Fans are already dreaming of goal-line punches that leave the crowd erupting and third-and-short scenarios turning into virtual chip shots. Yet, this isn't just a one-dimensional power game. We're talking about a back who, in his peak collegiate season, piled up over 1,500 rushing yards and added 500 receiving yards, an all-terrain weapon who thrives in space. Imagine the mismatches: linebackers outpaced by his vision, defensive backs outmuscled on inside runs, and off-man coverage on swing passes turning into explosive gains. Could this be the spark that finally makes Chicago respectable on third down? Is it possible that defenses would have to commit extra resources to him, thereby opening up play-action bombs downfield for our quarterback to exploit? But let's not get ahead of ourselves. There are unanswered questions. Would this back be willing to waive his no-trade clause for a mid-market team? Could he be tempted by the promise of becoming our offensive centerpiece, stepping into a role that no player in recent memory has filled with such dual-threat prowess? And what about the supporting cast? Do we have the blockers, the receivers, and the scheme partners to truly maximize his skill set? Some insiders whisper that a contingent in the Bears building believes we do, pointing to off-season additions on the offensive line and a revamped scheme that emphasizes outside zone and RPO looks. Could those moves have been preemptive placemakers for a bigger splash at running back? Here's the kicker. We've tiptoed around his name for suspense, but at the center of this swirling rumor is none other than Travis Etienne. Yes, the Jaguars. Breakaway speedster who terrorized defenses on his way to 1,125 rushing yards and 7 touchdowns in his rookie NFL season. If Etienne's door is even slightly ajar, the Bears brass is reportedly ready to knock. armed with draft currency and a vision of igniting our offense like never before. But will Jacksonville listen? And if they do, can Chicago close the deal without mortgaging future flexibility? As Bears News Fan Report viewers, we stand on the precipice of what could be the most seismic shift in our backfield in decades. Could this move be the turning point that propels us from hopeful rebuild to genuine playoff contender? The answer is out there, just beyond the horizon, and when we return, we'll break down the cap math, the fit with our scheme, and the potential ripple effects across the NFC North. Until then, keep the faith, stay loud, and let that excitement build, because if you believe the Bears are on the verge of a renaissance in the backfield, smash that like button and let's finish what we started. Now, imagine the electrifying roar of Soldier Field the moment Travis Etienne burst through a creased defense, juking linebackers and churning legs into daylight as decades of frustration melt away. This isn't just an upgrade in personnel, it's a seismic shift in Chicago's identity, hearkening back to the glory days of Peyton and Fort, when a single back could redefine a season. If Etienne dons the navy and orange, our offense evolves from predictable handoffs to a multidimensional nightmare. Inside zone runs that gouge 8 to 10 yards before contact. Outside zone sweeps that force safeties to choose between run support and defending the deep ball, and screen passes that turn into 40-yard touchdowns with his second gear. Think of what this would mean for Caleb Williams, our budding franchise quarterback. Instead of enduring relentless 8-man boxes, he'd face defenses that must respect Etienne's burst, creating one-on-one matchups downfield that could turn dart throws into pick sixes or 50-yard bombs. Some analysts project that a backfield weapon like Etienne could boost Williams' completion percentage by 2 to 3 points and add nearly 1.5 yards of expected points added per rush, numbers that translate directly into wins. For comparison, when the Bears briefly tasted success in 2018 with Jordan Howard leading the charge, our offense looked alive. Etienne's skill set could magnify that synergy tenfold, fueling long drives that exhaust opposing defenses and revitalize our coaching staff's play calling. Beyond the X's and O's, picture the cultural renaissance in the locker room. Veteran linemen like Cody Whitehair and rookies fresh off draft day would rally around Etienne's relentless work ethic, a man who in Jacksonville once logged 2,000 rushing and receiving yards combined, all while routinely finishing games on his feet, when most backs would be crumpled. His presence would send a message to every Bears player. Excellence is non-negotiable. That ethos could bleed into special teams, secondary drills, and even quiet moments in the weight room, forging a collective hunger that's been absent far too long. Could this injection of championship DNA be the catalyst that finally ends our playoff drought and dethrones perennial NFC North rivals Green Bay and Minnesota? Historic parallels abound. Think back to when Walter Payton arrived and transformed Chicago from a hapless offense into a perennial contender. That shift wasn't just X's and O's, it was belief, an intoxicating sense that underdog status could flip on its head in a single stride. If Etienne's trade goes through, Bears fans could relive a modern echo of that era, rekindling pride in a city defined by grit and blue-collar resolve. And this isn't hyperbole. In 2023, Etienne's 1,925 rushing yards ranked him among the top 10 backs in a league loaded with star talent. Imagine harnessing that production behind an offensive line built for zone running, and watch as defensive coordinators helplessly adjust their game plans. Of course, the flip side looms. If Jacksonville refuses to deal, or if Etienne's contract demands balloon beyond reason, this narrative could slip through our fingers like a would-be playoff ball bouncing off the goalpost. Fans would be left to wonder whether front office hesitation cost us another epoch of opportunity. But let's hold that thought for just a moment longer, because the buzz out of Halas Hall suggests that negotiations are at least heating up. Sources whisper that Ryan Poles is prepared to absorb Etienne's modest cap hit, projected around $6 million, and part with a mid-round pick, a price some see as a bargain for a near-elite back. Could this shrewd calculation be the stroke of genius that kickstarts our ascent? As the sun sets over Lake Michigan, the question isn't whether the Bears need Travis Etienne, it's whether Etienne needs the Bears. Will he latch onto this storied franchise, eager to write his next chapter under the glare of one of the NFL's most passionate fan bases? And if he does, will that single decision be the pivot point that finally turns Chicago into a perennial threat instead of a perennial question mark? The stage is set, the players are in motion, and the only thing left is the final handshake between front offices. So grab your jersey, raise your voice, and get ready to witness what could be the beginning of a new legend in Bears lore. Go Bears. This rumor proves true. Our Bears offense might never be the same again.